Myself I am Vijay. So just I'm the illustrator, and today just I'm giving a demo on the Java topic applets. So already we know that the vendor for Java is Sun Microsystems. Like we are aware that it has given three platforms: J2SE, J2W, and J2ME. So when Java has started its evolution, initially we are having a platform J2SE. So as the time went on, Sun has given the other platforms like J2W and the other one is J2ME. Like J2SE, we know that it is for what? It is for desktop applications. In the case of J2W, it is for web applications and business applications. And coming to J2ME, it is for mobile applications. So we know that in 1990s, the evolution of Java has started. So initially, what the developers were doing is they were depending on what platform? The platform called J2SE itself. So J2SE stands for what? It stands for Java 2 Platform Standard Edition. Okay. So using J2SE, what we are able to do? Like as I have told, therefore what? Therefore creating desktop application. So what do you mean by a desktop application? Example, on the installation of a Windows operating system, we are aware that we are getting what? A calculator. So what is this calculator? It is for what? A desktop application. I mean to say, it should be installed on or it should be deployed on each and every machine. So the other examples would be like a gaming application. Suppose I am having 10 pieces. On the installation of Windows, I'll get the same game on the same game on every machine. These are all what? These are all desktop applications. Okay. But what are some of the beautiful features of Java? You know that Java has its own features like Java is a portable language. The other thing is something like Java is a platform independent language, etc. Okay. Assume that I have created a desktop application, something like a calculator. Okay. Now if you want to port it means if you want to transfer it from one machine to other machine, okay, what I can do is simple. I can transfer my .class file. Okay, that's well and good. Like suppose if the scope is very less, it will be flexible for me to port my app. I need to say I can port my app onto 2 machines or I can port it to 10 machines. Assume that I have a very big network. Like I have to transfer my app over 1000 machines. And even we are not aware where the machines are available. Okay? Assume that the machines are somewhere connected on the internet. Internet means we have 10 machines somewhere in India, we have 10 machines somewhere in United States, and we do have 10 more machines somewhere in Russia. Okay? So it would be pretty complex for me to transfer this desktop application between the machines where over the internet. Okay? So how I can just cut down this? Simple. What Sunlight system has done is it has given the concept of what? Applets. Okay? We know that Java supports portability. Portability means whereby I am able to transfer my app from one operating system to another operating system. Otherwise, from one machine to other machine. Okay? If I am totally concentrating on a desktop app, something like a calculator, like what we do normally, we should keep on transferring the .class files. Okay? So, what would be, like I have told that it would be pretty complex to transfer the .class file between each and every machine. So my requirement is, I have a Java app whereby I want to transfer it over the network. So the solution is, I can go for what? I can go for applets. Okay? Like, initially, we were having J2SE. So what developers felt is, using J2SE itself, okay, they felt that they can create desktop applications and even something like web applications. Okay, web application is something like whereby I can just I can download some games, etc. Okay, like initially in JDSC I told that we are having a desktop applications. Okay, but how we are able to port it? The solution is we are having what? We are having the concept of applets. So what is applet? Means how you can define applet. Simple. Applet is a simple Java program, a very simple Java program which can be ported where on the network. Assume that I have designed a gaming application. What's it? Assume that I have designed a gaming application. Okay, like okay, and I want to put it over the network. Can I use a desktop app? No. It will be more tedious for me to put my app. Okay. So what we can do is simple. I can go for what? I can just depend on what? I can depend on app. So what is the difference between a desktop app? J2SC. J2SC stands for what? Java to Platform Standard Edition. Desktop app. What is the scope of a desktop app? Desktop app means the scope will be limited. Limited means mostly it can operate on LAN, okay, or metropolitan area network. Suppose if the scope is very huge, scope means like I want to just share my application anywhere on the internet, okay, or anywhere on the globe. So instead of a desktop app, just we can depend on what applet. So when applets are more portable when compared to what a desktop app. See here, we know that we have a desktop app, but I want to share the same app where to the total internet net to the total network. Like okay, I told that the machines are spread across different geographical locations. Geographical locations they are distributed across multiple nations. Okay, like there will be some business requirement where okay I want to share some business reports to multiple nations. Like suppose just I'm having an MNC multinational company whereby at the end of the day I want to share the files whatever files end of the day files. In companies we know that we have end of the day files. So if it is MNC, we know that the employees are distributed across different nations. Like okay, like in India, okay, in New York, somewhere. Okay, there are some of the employees maybe in somewhere in Burma, etc. Okay, but what is my requirement? My business requirement would be whereby I want to just okay, I want to just share my files. Okay, across the nations. Like we can have a reporting manager in somewhere in Russia, but we may have the employees spread across different countries. So what I want to do here, like I want to share some content between different nations. Okay, like my business requirement is simple. I want to share the end of the day files. Okay, from one nation to other nation. So can I depend on a desktop app? What is the problem with the desktop app? If I am depending on a desktop app, I have to install it on every machine. Install means I have to put it on every machine. So, okay, is there a flexibility? Means can I overcome this? Okay, like what we can do is, because we are having one more application, that application is called one applet. Okay, like what I have just popped up here is a desktop app. So how I can make this desktop app, okay, an applet. Just now I told what are the differences between a desktop app and an applet. Desktop app means it has some problem with portability. Okay, portability. Like I told that for desktop app the scope is very less. I mean to say the desktop app can be transferred okay on the LAN or MAC. If the scope is very large, like suppose I am considering a wide area network, like the portability would be a big issue. So what we are doing is simple. We are going for some more applications, and these are for what? These are for the applets itself. Okay. So already I have told what is an applet. What is applet? Simple. It's an application that can be transferred where? From the network. Okay. So what are the different real-time examples where we are using applets? Okay. Simple. Okay. On the internet, suppose okay, I want to download some MP3 songs or I want to download some MP4 songs. We are having a website like keepbit.com. What's that website? We are having a website keepbit.com. So by using this website, what I am able to do, I am able to just get some MP3 songs and get some MP4 songs. We know that actually these songs are okay available there on the server side. So what I want to do, I want to transfer there. I want to transfer them there on the client machine. So to implement this, what we have to do is we have to download an application. And what is that application called? That application is called as applet itself. Not only that, applets have some more okay purposes. Like for example, I want to display graphics. You know what are graphics? Yeah. I want to display animation. Okay, etc. So this is where we can use where does applet okay like where does applet fit? Can it fit in J2SC or J2W? Applets are fitting only in J2SC. I need to say, okay, what are the software requirements? For example, I want to develop applets. The software requirement is simple. I have to install what? JDK. JDK stands for what? Java Development. Okay, yeah. Like means what is a difference between one more difference between a desktop app and an applet? We know that a desktop app, we know that it is having three phases: a design phase, a compilation phase, and the third one is what? The execution phase. Okay. For compilation, we are depending on JavaC, and for execution, we are depending on what? JVM. I mean to say the Java Virtual Machine. So what is the other term for JVM? The other term is it's also called the application launcher. What's it called? It's also called the application launcher. Then what about applet? Like where I am running an applet. Okay, you know that you are running a desktop app on command prompt by using what tool? A tool called JVM. Then what about applet? Means where an applet is run. What is the context of applet? Simple. An applet runs in a browser. Okay, like how I can compare a command prompt to a browser. In real time, okay, what do we use normally? In real time, everybody uses a browser. When compared to what? When compared to command prompt. So here itself, the applets are playing what? A good role. See here, to design applets, okay, like applets are like analogs to threads. Like for example, I want to design threads. Okay, we know that we are having what class? Simple. We are having what? We are having thread class. Okay, what does a thread has? A thread has a particular life cycle. Like a thread has different stages. Like we are having the something like the newborn state. What's it? Just we are having the newborn state. We are having the ready state. We are having the something like the runnable state. So both are same. The ready state and runnable state are mostly the same. And what's the other one? The other one is something like whereby just we have the running state and we have what we are having the waiting state, the blocked state, and something like the suspended state. And at last, what does the thread end with? The thread ends with what? It ends with the dead state. Okay. The similar way, okay, like what will be the life cycle of applet? An applet has the similar phases, whereby it is newly born and it will be running at some state, and at last it will be terminated. What's it? It will be terminated. Okay. Like what are the specifications to be followed? Suppose I want to create a thread. Like we are following what specifications, something like we are making it to extend which class? Thread class. The similar way, what about applet? To design an applet, like what is the specification we follow? Okay, we have to extend to a class that is called the applet class. What's it called? It is called as the applet class. And apart from this, we have to override some methods. Like here, we know that we need to override which method? We can override a method, something like run method. We are familiar with this. Like I'll take public void. Okay. The similar way, what about applet? Okay. Suppose if you want to design applets, we are having some methods like the first one is something like public void init. What's the first one? The first one is public void init. The next one is we have to take public void start. The third one is we are having a method public void paint. What is this? Public void paint. And the fourth one is we are having a method something like public void something like stop, or we can have a method something like what's this? Okay, something like this. Or if required, we can even use the stop method. Okay, like we know that. Okay, like when we take a class, I mean say what a Java class, we know that we can have some data. What's this? We can have some data. So how to initialize this data? Simple. We are depending on a method. It is called the init method. So who will be initializing the applet? The applet is initialized by the browser itself. For example, I want to take a message like string str. Otherwise, I want to take a message. My requirement would be I want to initialize this message. Simple. What we can do is just I can write this is my first applet. What's this? This is my first applet. Okay. We know that here we are taking a variable and we want to perform initialization. So we are depending on what method? Init method. Okay. So why we require init method? Simple. It's for initializing the applet itself. Okay. And what's the second one? The second one is after initialization, the browser has to start the applet. So it is using a method. It is called the start method. Okay. Like in a desktop app, we are having what main method. Main is something like a life cycle method. For example, I'm skipping main method. Can we run a desktop app? Like in the previous versions, we are depending on static node. But in the current versions, okay, just we had to depend on what? We have to totally depend on the main method itself. Like as main is a very pivotal method. Pivotal means a significant method for desktop application. The similar way here we have some more methods like init. The second one is start. The third one is paint. The fourth one is what? Destroy. Okay. So like what are these methods called? These are called the lifecycle methods. Like why I have to write these methods? Similar, it is similar to the main. I told that if we skip main method, we are not able to run our app. The similar way, suppose I'm not writing init method, or if I'm not just writing this main method, can I run my applet? Okay, it's not possible. Like some of them are optional and some of them are mandatory. So what are the optional methods? Like the optional are init, and the other one is we are having stop, and we are having what? Destroy. Okay, we are having stop also. Like what are some of the mandatory methods? Some of the mandatory methods are paint. What's it? Paint. Okay. Like paint is a very significant method where in applet. I have told that init. What is the purpose of init method? It's for initialization. It is analogous to constructor. Like you know what's a constructor? You know that a constructor is for what? Initialization. In a similar way, here we are having a method. It is the init method. Okay. So how many times init method is called? It is not only once. Okay. The similar way, after we are initializing the applet, we have to start it. So here I can put a message like system.body.insulin, like the applet has started. What's this? The applet has what? Started. Okay. So who is calling start method? It is done by the browser. Why? Okay. It's for starting the applet itself. Okay. It's for what? It's for starting the applet. In threads we are having start method. Yes. We know that in threads what we are having start method. So whenever we are calling start methods, what is a thread enter? We know that it is entering which state? Something like the release state or runnable state. The similar way, okay, what happens here? Like, okay, what happens when you are starting the applet? Simple. It will get into a state that's called as the ready state. Okay, then what's the next thing to be done? Okay, like a desktop application is normally what? A CUI. CUI means a character user interface. What's it? Something like a CUI. Okay. Then what about applet? What applet is what? A GI. GI means a graphical user interface. Like a desktop app is normally normally a generic. Okay, a desktop app is what? A desktop app is normally a CUI. Like CUI means it stands for a character user interface. Then what about applet? When we take an applet, it's a GI. I mean say it's a GI application. So what does GI stand for? Simple. It stands for the graphical user interface. What does it stand for? It stands for a graphical user interface. So what are the key features of GI? The key features of GI is, the first one is a GI contains what? A window. What does it contain? A window. And apart from this, it can contain some controls. So what do you mean by controls? For example, here just I have opened a calculator, alright? What is this actually? This is a GI. GI means you are finding something. So what is this? A container. So what is this container termed as? Here the container is termed as what? A window. Apart from this, we are finding something like buttons, something like text area, something like menu, etc. So what are these called as? These are called as controls. Okay? We can build a similar app using Applet also. Okay? So desktop app. Normally a desktop app is what? CI. So if it is a CI, it is not that much user friendly. What's it? It is not that much user friendly. Okay? What are the real-time apps we design? What is the significant parameter? The significant parameter will be like it should be more user friendly. For example, I'm using an ATM application or I'm using a banking application. So it should be more user friendly. What do you mean by user friendly? User friendly means it is easy to use. If I am depending on a CUI, like you have flexibility. Okay, like it's not that it's okay. If I depend on the CUI, is it okay user friendly? No, it's a it's a bit tedious. Tedious means complex. Okay, then what about the GI? A GI is user friendly. What I mean to say is, what do you mean by user friendly? User friendly means okay, which is easy to use. Like for example, okay, I want to just perform addition. One way is I can take a desktop app. Like in which mode I'm taking it in CI mode. So every time I have to prompt for like the number one and number two. Okay. Then what about the GI? In the case of GI, we need not have any prompt. Like directly, I can enter the data. Like suppose I want to perform addition. Directly, I'll be putting down the data. Okay. Then what about a CI? CI means like every time you have to prompt the user. Example, to perform addition, at least we require what? Two numbers. Thus we are making a prompt. The user is not able to just give the data. Okay? Like so what about the GI? Simple. In GI we do not have any prompt. Directly, just we enter the data, something like 12 plus 12. Makes what? It makes 24. Okay? So these are some of the best features of what? A GI. So what about Applets? Okay? Is it a CI or a GI? Okay, an applet is a GI. GI means it is a graphical user interface. Like it would be something like a calculator. Okay, something like a calculator. Okay, where is the applet running? So whenever means where is the applet running? Applet can run where in a browser. So what happens when we are running an applet? Okay, so what happens when we are running an applet? Suppose I am running a desktop application. We know that we are getting the output where on the console. Console means the command. Like assume that I have created a desktop app, something like class class calculator. See here, okay, whereby I am taking multiple methods. Public void add. This is for addition. Public void what? Sub. This is for subtraction. The third one is public void mult. This is for what? Multiplication. Another one is public void div. This is for what? This is for division. So what I am doing here, simple. Depending on the operation, I am taking what? Those many procedures. And the other thing is, okay, like we know that just we are having what? A stub. What is that stub here? Here the stub is what? Main. Public static void main. String of args. Okay, like what is the complexity here? The complexity is first we have to know the operation. Operation means whether you want to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. So first what we have to do, first we have to count for what? First we have to count for the operation. Operation means we have to know whether the user wants to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication or here. Okay. And what is second one? Again we have to count for what? Again we have to count for data. I mean to say like suppose I want to add two numbers. Then I had to count for what? I had to count for number one and number two. Okay? So this is done from there. This is done from there. This is done from the console itself. I need to say from command prompt. Okay? And where is the output displayed? The output is displayed on the command prompt itself. Where is the output? The output is on the command prompt. I mean to say it's on the console itself. So if everything is done from a command prompt, okay, like it would be more. I mean to say, okay, the look and feel may not be good. Look and feel means any application will have some look and feel. Like suppose I want to distribute my application to multiple customers. The first thing is the customer says what the look and feel. Suppose he feels that okay the look and feel is not that much good, that he cannot do that much marketing. Okay, so what is the thing? Like can I depend on the CUI? Like a CUI has some complexity. Complexity means okay every time we have to count for data. Like here I have designed a calculator whereby the first one is I have to count for the operation. Operation means I have to determine the operation like I have to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication or division. Okay? And the second thing is assume that I want to perform addition. Again I have to count for what data like number one, number two and number three. And the third one would be something like I have to even determine like Suppose if I'm entering two numbers, it would be simple. If suppose I'm entering four numbers or five numbers, so I have to take a for loop. What's it? I have to take a for loop. I have to store all these values there in an array, and I should keep on iterating the array. Am I right? Okay. So this would be a performance problem. Performance means an application will have what performance testing. Okay. Suppose if I am testing such an application, like if the number of digits is less, the response time will be high. Suppose if the number of digits is high, like if I am adding two numbers, the response time will be less. If suppose I am adding six numbers, number six, okay, or if I am adding seven numbers, okay, what happens to the response time? The response time will be delayed. So if the response time is delayed, what happens to performance? Definitely the performance will be degraded. Okay, performance is a non-functional requirement. Any application has two things: the functional requirement, the other one is what? The non-functional requirement. Okay? Like what is one of the non-functional requirement? The customer says that the performance should be high. It is a non-functional requirement. So what is the problem with the CEI? The problem would be I'd be building boilerplate code. Boilerplate means unnecessary code. If I'm writing a boilerplate code, it definitely affects the performance. Otherwise, it will affect the response time. So, what is the alternative? Simple. Instead of a CI, what I can do is I can just get into a GI. So, using JDSC, how I can design a GI? Simple. Okay, I can depend on what? I can depend on the applet itself. So, here I have put down some more differences. Previously, I have put desktop applets. It's not that much portable. Applet means more portable. Like what are the other significant differences? Desktop app, normally, we are taking it as what? A CUI. Like suppose I'm ignoring AWT. Ignoring AWT, a desktop app is what? Normally a CUI. Whatever tablet is definitely a GI. So if it is a GI, I told that it is what? More user friendly. Okay? Yes? So where I have to run my applet? Okay? So where I have to run my applet? Simple. To run a desktop app, we are opening on a command prompt, and thereupon, just we are triggering a tool. And what is the tool? The tool is JVM itself. Okay. In the case of applet, we are depending on what? We are depending on browser. Means apart from browser, do we have any other mechanism? Simple. The other mechanism is we have a tool. The tool is called applet viewer. What's it? The tool is called what? Applet viewer. Okay. So, what are the different phases of an applet? Like, an applet can have different phases, like initialization phase. Initialization phase means where we are calling the init method. The second one is called as the running phase. Okay, otherwise the runnable phase. Runnable phase means where we are calling the start method. And the third one is running phase. Running phase means whereby, okay, we are having what? Pain method. Okay? Like, why we are depending on pain method? Okay, like init, the method has its own operation. Init, it's for initialization. Okay, start, it makes the applet to jump into which phase? Runnable phase. The similar way, what about paint? Paint is a pivotal method. Pivotal means a very significant method. By using paint method, what we can do? Simple. What we can do is just we can display graphics. The second one is I can display what? I can display animation. And the third one is I can just draw some graphs. Also, I can draw some graphs. And the fourth one is I can display some data. What's it? I can display some data. Okay, like, and the last one would be we are having store and we are having what? Destroy. Suppose I want to just I want to close my applet. Like, see here, when we are running the applet, like we are getting a window. Like it will be something like this one. Okay. So what does this window has? It has a width, and the other one is what? It has a height. This represents the width. And what does this represent? This represents the height. Okay? Like, the other thing would be, apart from this, we can have some controls. I mean to say, we can add some text fields, we can add text area, or we can have some buttons, checkboxes, etc. What is the other key feature of Applet? What is the other key feature of Applet? Okay? Like, a desktop app is interpreted by the JVM. Then what about applet? Means we know that here we have designed an applet. So can we directly give it to browser? No. Okay. What does a browser understand? A browser understands what languages? Markup languages like HTML, XML, WML. WML stands for wireless markup languages. I mean to say it is used for mobile phones. Okay. So can I directly give this applet to a browser? No. So what I have to do is here we need to have some interceptor. What's that? We are having the interceptor here. And what is that interceptor here? Here the interceptor is when we design a HTML page. What's it? A HTML page. Okay. So what is a HTML page? Simple. It contains a set of tags. And what are these tags called as? The HTML tags. Like we have to write HTML. The second one is we need to take body. And the third one is we need to take a tag. It's called the applet tag. What's it? The applet tag. Whereby here we have the attribute. What is that attribute? It is called the code attribute. So what does this code attribute represent? Simple. The code attribute represents the name of your applet. You know that you have designed what? An applet. Okay? Like how I'm pointing it. Simple. We are having an attribute. It is the code attribute. The other thing would be we need to specify the width and height. Like whatever thing we find in the horizontal direction, it represents the width. And whatever thing we find in the vertical direction, it represents the height. Assume that here we have a width of 300. What's it? We are having a width of 300. And we are having a height of 400. What's it? We are having a height of 400. So how to mention it? Simple. We are having width attribute something like 300 and height attribute as what? Something like 400. Okay? And then we have to just send this applet back. And the next one would be whereby I have to just send this body and I have to end this HTML. Okay? So this is a short demo on applets. Okay? Thanks for attending.